following show is for entertainment purposes only and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Empire Media LLC, its subsidiaries, affiliates, sponsors, and advertisers.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Majors Live, episode 288 here on TMSNX Radio, themajors.net. I'm Adam Hernandez. There's Dorf. Oh, no Shawn. No Shawn this week.
He's got...
I think last show we said he had the
dysentery.
HIV. Well, now he has dysentery, gonorrhea, syphilis. I don't think we said the clap, VD, whatever.
You're just giving him all sorts of STDs. I'm dysentery,
gout,
measles,
mumps, chickenpox, whatever. He's got it all.
Some rare form of Asian bird flu.
There you go.
Only seen in the Western Hemisphere twice since 1980.
Ugh.
Nah, just kidding. He's got a cold.
You ever watch 1,000 Ways to Die?
I think once.
Yeah, there's one that they had on there. This guy tried to smuggle exotic birds, like these little tiny, like
little
parakeet type birds, on a plane, and he had them like taped to his leg and stuff.
Ew.
And they were like chewing or gnawing at his leg, and he ended up getting like some type of bird flu or something from it. Yeah,
his leg.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. But anyways.
No, but I do frequent, well, not regularly, let's call it, but the Darwin Awards.
Yeah, those are fun.
Those are fun. I think the honorable mentions are even better. The came close but didn't kill yourself. No, the Darwin Awards are fun.
Yep, I think they're fun as well. But anyways, tonight's got a lot of draft stuff to get to, obviously, after what transpired over
it is an NFL
late last
world.
week.
We are just living in it.
Yep, after what transpired late last week, and throughout Saturday. We also want to get into a little bit of that ESPN stuff that happened last week as well. Lots of layoffs. Yep, Black Tuesday or Black Wednesday or something?
Didn't it? I think it was Thursday, wasn't it?
Thursday? No, it wasn't
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll say that.
Yeah.
What else do we have tonight? We've got that. We've got some crystal ball stuff. Death of perhaps maybe the death of college bowl season. And you know what? Actually, that's what we're going to start out with this week.
Yeah, going to throw the fan question first.
Oh, fan question. I'm sorry. Are the latest ESPN mass layoffs a sign of a dying big sports media platform? We'll cover that in just a little bit. But to lead things off, I want to start off with the death of bowl season question mark. Because I'm not outright proclaiming that this is the death of college bowl season. However,
you were pondering it.
I am pondering it, yes. And this was a topic that came up in, what's his face?
That doesn't really help.
Who's the guy that went to Fox Sports, used to be at ESPN?
Bayless Cowherd?
Colin Cowherd, yep. He kind of brought this up the other day, and it was, I believe it was Friday after the first round, because you had Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Jabrill Peppers, all go in the first round. And what do all those guys have in common, Dorf, besides them going to big schools?
They skipped their final season's bowl games.
That's correct. And all of them.
Not that their team didn't make one. They chose not to play.
Nope. And not only did these guys get drafted in the first round, but you had two of them, Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey, go in the top 8. Yes. These guys don't play in their school's bowl games. You had a guy like Jake Butt, tight end for Michigan, very, very good tight end.
Probably would have been like the fourth highest rated or fourth tight end selected, which would have, if maneuvering the order, that means he would have went in the second round.
Yes. Ended up not going to what? Was the 5th? I think it was the
first pick in the 5th round.
First pick of the 5th round by the Denver Broncos. Big time slide. What did he do? Did he tear his ACL?
Yes, he did. He in the Orange Bowl this past season, he did tear his ACL.
Yep. So Jake Butt gets hurt. Big time injury too.
Thankfully for the loss of value insurance,
Yes, he gets like $1.5, $2 million.
that would have been the maximum value. He's going to net just over $500,000.
Okay.
So the way it worked is if he was picked after pick 15 of the round 3, every pick he slid past that, he got a $10,000 payout. He slid 50 picks.
How much do you have to How much do you have to pay on that though? Because it's insurance.
I'm sure they won't tell you that, but
Jesus Christ.
it's probably depends on the different person. There's people who write insurance for that all the time.
Can I get insurance for myself? Loss of value?
Probably not, because you're not a high-end professional athlete.
Damn it. Anyways, but he slides down after suffering a big injury. I'm not gonna
An ACL tear is a big injury.
Yeah, ACL tear is a big injury. But that leads to the question though: Is this the beginning of the end when it comes to college bowl season? I'm not saying altogether. I'm saying right now, college bowl season is overdone.
It's bloated.
It
so
is-
damn bloated.
it is
I mean, when you have multiple 5 and 7 teams being put in bowl games because, well, we got to follow the spots.
We have all these sponsors, and we need to fill them up with bowl games.
What was it this year? 34 games?
I think it was more than that. But and this was something that Cowherd was saying last week, that back in '96, I believe the number from now and from back then is like cut in half.
All right, so this year there was 41 bowl games.
41 bowl games.
41. 41.
What's it? It's no matter why they can't have a majority. of
What
them
year
too.
were you trying to compare it to?
Let's say '96.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. Yep.
Number of bowl games in 1996, there were 18. Bowl games in 1996/97.
Okay. To me, that's a problem. That's a problem, and
None of them had essentially corporate sponsors' names in 96. It was Sugar, Citrus, Cotton, Fiesta, Gator, Outback, Rose, Independence, Orange, Sun, Holiday, Alamo, Peach, CarQuest, Copper, Liberty, Aloha, and Vegas.
okay. Like I said, I'm not saying that what we had transpire here at the NFL draft, where you had guys, high-end guys, albeit, still get drafted in the first round after skipping out on their school's respective bowl games. I'm not saying that we're going to see the death of college bowl season. I'm not saying that you're not going to see a Rose Bowl anymore, or a Orange Bowl, or a Fiesta Bowl, or even some of the second tier type of bowls like a Capital One, or the old New Year's Day 6 type of bowls. I'm not saying that those are going to be going anywhere, but when you have some of these bowls down the line here, like a Bahamas Bowl, for example, ESPN just moved the Miami Bowl to, I think they're moving it to San Antonio this year, and they're obviously going to be rebranding it. I think something like this may end up leading to the death of some of these, bottom of the barrel type of bowl games that nobody cares about, because they're not getting people to go to these things anyways. And a lot of the times they have to have these bowl games happen during the week
In order to get it on TV.
There's
only so much weekend watching time.
And not only that, Dorf.
Like I know, for example, like Eastern Michigan, you and I both went there.
Mhm.
They played in the Bahamas Bowl. It was on a Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Nobody's going to show up for that.
Tuesday, like the week before Christmas at 1 p.m.
Okay, you know what? People are
The
still.
only reason people went to that game because it was the Bahamas.
Yes.
And you could classify it as, we're taking off for an early holiday vacation.
But nobody's watching it on TV.
Nobody's watching that on TV.
Except
the retired and the unemployed.
And if that was in Miami Beach, or if that was in San Antonio or San Diego, nobody's going to be going to it either, because most people are still going to be working a week before Christmas.
Shit to do.
Yes.
I know it was like Eastern's first bowl game since my dad played there. But at the same time, it's just like, why is that even a game? It's like the third best team out of the MAC versus like the Sun Belt 2.
Too much. Too much.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these other gimmicky bowl games might survive just because of where they are, like the New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
That's fun. You played in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, something like that may have more
What about the
leg to it.
famous Idaho Potato Bowl?
That's been around for a while, hasn't it? Now.
I don't know. I'm not looking it up, but it's at Boise. It's at Boise State.
Okay, you
On
get to
the
go
blue
and play on the
turf. The
blue
Smurf turf.
Okay, you get to go and play on the blue turf.
When
Great.
it's fucking 12 degrees out and snowing.
Yeah, that sucks. But
Because it's Boise, Idaho in December.
yeah, that sucks. But
Hey kids, guess what? You know what your reward for a season hard work? You get a weeks-long vacation to Boise, Idaho.
But Dorf, I mean, what does this tell you? I mean, guys like Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Jabrill Peppers. What kind of incentive does a bowl game present to a high-end player who could possibly be drafted in the first, high second round? What's their incentive of going and playing in a bowl game? Nothing.
There isn't one.
There isn't. What, the prestige of playing for your...
I don't want to give up on my team.
You know
well,
what?
Guess what? Your team isn't going to pay your bills when you get hurt.
No,
and
and you
lose.
know another thing too, Dorf?
What? Just look at the difference between the value of average value of a first round draft pick's first contract and a second round draft pick's first contract.
Oh, it's astronomical.
It's huge. First round pick on average this year with 4-year deal, $25 million roughly. Well, that's what the top end guys get. So let's say average value of 15. You know what pretty much everybody gets in the second round?
Go ahead.
4 years and 4.
And if you are
That is 3 to 4 times as much money. And that probably could that slip and fall will happen because you got a little bit dinged up in the bowl game.
say you're a late first, early second tweener there, do you go and play in a bowl game then?
Depends on the position I play. Depends on my
Running back,
Fuck no.
linebacker,
Probably.
corner,
Probably.
wide receiver,
Probably.
quarterback.
Yeah, because then people do the whole question your love for football when you're a running back or something. You're being smart.
Yeah, I think this offer. I don't think it offers a whole lot.
Offensive tackle? Probably not.
Do you think that this does anything to the sponsors then? I mean, a sponsor. I mean, because
live sports rights are already way too fucking expensive, and people pay way too much goddamn money for that shit anyway.
Okay, Allstate.
I would be pissed.
They're going to want
If your main attraction, let's say Leonard Fournette at LSU, for example, your main attraction decides, and they keep it secret for competitive reasons. You don't find out till about 12 hours before fucking kickoff. Oh, Leonard Fournette's not playing today. If I don't know, what bowl game did LSU play in this year? Yeah, I have the list. Did LSU, okay.
Did you find it?
They played in the Camping World Citrus Bowl.
Okay, Camping World then. You are Camping World. You are an executive with Camping World.
I'm
Hey.
fucking pissed.
Hey,
By the way, that guy's the CEO of that company is the guy that runs that TV show on CNBC, The Prophet.
Oh.
That's that guy.
oh, okay.
His name is Marcus Lemonis. If I was him, I'd be fucking pissed. Guess what? A quarter of your audience isn't tuning in anymore. Not to mention that your game is being played at 11 a.m. Eastern
On Saturday?
on New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay. Most people are going to be off for that. So they're going to get to see it. LSU, big school.
Louisville.
A lot of fans on both sides. So you'll be able to salvage something out of it.
Something there. That won't be a totally lost
But-
investment. Say you're like the Foster Farms Bowl, though. Utah, Indiana, and all of a sudden Utah's top players are going to play.
It's a big loss.
That's a big loss.
It's a bigger loss. But is this something that's going to hurt? Do you think this is something that people are going to start taking notice of if you're a big time?
It will. It absolutely will hurt. But what are you going to do about it?
Nothing.
What can you do about it?
Cut the bowl games down. I think they're going to have to.
I don't think that'll do anything.
They're going to have to, though. They're going to have to.
I don't disagree that they should cut the number of bowl games down. But I would do it for different reasons.
You don't think they're going to have to, though?
I think that they'll eventually realize, these corporate sponsors realize that this investment in a bowl game with our name on it isn't worth it. is no one's fucking watching it because we're a new bowl that doesn't have any prestige. And guess what? It's going to be like the fourth best team from the SWAC versus the Fun Belt number 2 on a Wednesday Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. No one's going to fucking watch it. And then guess what? All that advertising moolah that we were hoping to, cash in on eventually for get brand awareness and getting our name out there, it isn't going to come. No one's going to watch the game. No one's going to talk about the game.
Add more prestige to these lower or, second tier, maybe some lower tier bowl games.
Make them part of a 16-team college football playoff.
There you go. That's it.
Oh, that was an unplanned segue. High five.
Well, we're not segueing into any of that, but
no, you and I have been. We actually have.
No, but
we've never put pen to paper, but we have a pretty well fleshed out 16-team playoff scenario.
But that's how it becomes more prestigious. If you have a 16-team playoff, because obviously you're going to get the BCS and the New Year's Day up at the top or at the end of the tournament. But
the New Year's 6, the BCS is gone, kind sir.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. New Year's 6. I'll leave it at that. Obviously, those are going to be the later tournament bowl games. No, I can't guarantee that, some of these upper echelon, top prospect NFL guys are going to be playing still. But as far as that sponsorship goes, I think companies would be more prone to forking over money if these bowl games are part of a tournament as opposed to just a.
And at the same time, I think part of our solution, our 16-team playoff solution that you and I have hashed out over the years is first rounder at home sites. But you know what? If we needed to compromise so all these smaller bowls could still have their games, we put them in a neutral site. Okay, I dig. We can do that.
I think you actually have something on the website. I can't remember. I think there might be something on the website.
Do I?
I think there might be. I'll be interested to go and look at that afterwards. But I think
so. It's like several years outdated.
I think it might be there though.
Because it was like working within the existing BCS system at the time.
I don't know. I think there might have been a 16.
Well, I know it was 16 because now there's one less conference than when I wrote it. Because at the time there was 11.
Yeah.
Now there's only 10 because of the Big East getting eaten. So now there's 10. So essentially it was 10 each conference champion. Conferences award their conference championship how they choose to, whether regular season or conference championship game. And then 6 at large, no more than 1 from each conference. So you can't have like 5 teams from the SEC essentially, or 5 from the Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, whatever. So you can only have a maximum of 2 teams from each conference. First round at home sites, and then you essentially just play.
What about this? What about having the conference championships be bowl games too?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, if
I mean, there's a lot of prestige of playing at the conference. Like, for example, isn't the SEC championship game always at the Georgia Dome?
I know, but that's my point, though. Is if the NCAA, and we know they are,
that would be a potential compromise.
We know that they're starving to throw out.
At the same time, I'm not going to give the Hawaii Bowl. I'm not going to give that a conference championship game. The American Conference Championship game.
No, but
I'm not going to make 2 teams from the East Coast fly to fucking Hawaii to play a game.
No, but you have like the Holiday Bowl or the Poinsettia Bowl or something like that, representing some of these lower tier bowl games, or like the ACC, having your championship game in Miami, playing at like Landshark or something stadium.
I don't know, whatever
it's called. I mean, that could be your, your ACC bowl game or conference championship game. I think something like that could work, and then you mix in the rest of your bowl games with each tournament. I just think that this is something that they may have to be looking at here when you take into consideration Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Jabrill, Peppers, what happened with them, and then what happened with Jake Budd later on in the draft.
I think it has little to do with, in my estimation, if the NCAA were to reorganize its postseason Division I college football structure, I think it will have zero to do with guys like McCaffrey, Fournette, and Peppers skipping their bowl games. It'll happen for other reasons, but at the same time, what's your enforcement mechanism? We're gonna pull your scholarships, kind sir, if you refuse to play in this bowl game. Fine, whatever. I'm gone anyway.
There's nothing they can do.
Bye, Felicia. Yeah. And this isn't like the NBA and Adam Silver. You're not allowed to rest players. They are student athletes after all.
I was
What-
done. I was done with school last week,
Yeah,
or I was done with school.
you
3
should
weeks
just be
ago.
happy I'm still here, just standing on the sidelines for cameras to be pointed at me.
Yeah, I already hired an agent. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I hired an agent a while ago, but I'm not going to officially tell that because then you have to self-report a violation for that shit.
All right. Anything else on this, Dorf?
We could talk college football playoff realignment to death. Let's just save it for a slower news week.
All right. Moving along. Bitches and badasses. I forgot what I had last time.
I think it's dark in there.
Is that it?
I think it was the one below it.
No, it wasn't. I know for sure it wasn't.
That's not a bad one. Let's roll with it.
Okay. Anyways, bitches and badasses. Badass this week. Dorf, go ahead.
All right, my badass this week is actually going to be the Cleveland Browns. Not only did you fleece the Chicago Bears, dumbass, you had a great draft. You know what? You got essentially your quarterback in the future with your 4th pick of the draft in the second round, Deshaun Kaiser. Not to mention you cleaned up great talent haul in the first round. So, you know what, Cleveland Browns, you know what, winning those, April Super Bowls since, fucking whenever. But, great job by Cleveland over the weekend, helping retool their roster.
My badass this week is the Michigan football defense, and I know it's April, or it was April. Now it's May, and college football. What? But as far as the Big Ten goes, over 20% of the players drafted from the Big Ten came from the Michigan defense. So good for them.
They had what? 3 corners? No, Stribling didn't get taken, but he was signed immediately as a free agent. So you had 2 corners, whatever you call Jabrill Peppers. Ben Gideon went in the 3rd round for some reason.
Wormley went in the 3rd.
Wormley went in the 3rd. Charlton was the 1st rounder.
Jordan Lewis, I think, went in the 3rd. Yeah, I know we're missing people, but
yeah, I mean Jeremy Clark, guy didn't play all year, pretty much.
He got drafted in the 7th.
7th round,
or I think it was the 6th.
Sixth round.
I think it was the 6th. Yep, and that put him over the edge. Set a school record too for number of players drafted in the NFL draft. I think it was 11.
Correct.
With
nearly beating out Alabama, who had 10.
Yep. So, all right.
Pretty much all on defense too. I mean, what did Garbo and
Chesson went. Both those guys went.
But those are your only 2 offensive players that got picked. Oh, but
Jake Butt got picked.
The 2 linemen they sent, Magnuson and Kalis, are both UDFAs.
Oh, Glasgow got picked too.
Right, he's a defensive lineman though.
He's probably going to move to offense though.
Really?
Probably.
Whatever.
But yes, he was a defensive player in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably going to move to offense.
I think what Ryan Glasgow provides is
can't get to the quarterback.
A 2-down round stuffer in a 3-4. Nose tackle type. So even if he's a starter, he'll only play a 1/3 of the game anyway.
All right, bitch, go ahead, Dorf.
All right, my bitch this week is Buffalo Bills ownership. What the fuck you doing? Why are you leaving your general manager in place throughout the entire draft process to fire him the day after?
Because you're the Buffalo Bills?
Because this is organizational dysfunction at its finest.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because if you weren't going to mention it, I was. My bitch this week, though, is the Chicago Bears.
Bears.
Trading up 1 spot, giving up what you did after San Francisco wasn't going to take Mitch
They were going to take
anyway.
Trubisky anyway. They were going to take Solomon Thomas.
Yep, Solomon Thomas was their guy.
So you gave him a bunch of picks to take Solomon Thomas anyway?
And you know how we know that too? Because did San Francisco even draft a quarterback in this draft?
Nope.
So they weren't taking Mitch Trubisky at all. Because if they were, they would have drafted a quarterback somewhere down the line.
They didn't.
And they didn't. And there was guys that are worth taking a chance on too. Josh Dobbs was down there. Kyle was down there. There were guys.
Hell, I mean, even Leidner. They took Mitch Leidner in the 3rd round.
San Francisco did?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Leidner. Not Leidner. Kid from Iowa. C.J. Breather.
Oh, whatever. They still weren't taking Trubisky, though.
Yeah, Beathard went in the third round of the Niners.
Okay. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, that's a waste of pick. He's not a good.
But, yeah, Chicago Bears. And we're going to play some of the fan reaction when we get to the news section here later on. Because the fan reaction on some of these and this Trubisky pick is great. I do kind of feel sorry for the kid, though, because he got booed at the United Center during the Bulls game. It wasn't his fault he was picked second.
It's not your fault. Your general manager, your boss is incompetent.
Yeah, and then they gave all that money to Mike Glennon.
Yeah. Mike Glennon reportedly feels like he was cheated on.
Whatever, you're still getting all that money.
$18.5 million guaranteed, buddy.
Yeah, so.
Shut up, human Q-tip.
Yeah, cool your jets. Anyways, that's going to do it for Bitches and Badges. So, anything else, Dorf?
I mean, pretty much other than that, the draft was fairly uneventful.
What are you talking about? The first round was excellent.
Oh, it was excellent, but you know what? It was back to expected. What was it, 2016? Didn't, pretty much nobody trade in the first round last year? But at the same, what I'm saying is there wasn't a lot of everybody had this kid as a fourth round prospect, and all of a sudden the Raiders are picking him in the middle of the first round. There wasn't any of that. Everybody kind of fell where they were supposed to.
But first round was great. First round, plenty of intrigue. I thought that you know,
O.J. Howard lasted a lot longer than I thought he would.
Yeah, and if you're a team that needed defensive help, and you were outside the top 10, outside the top 15, you were in luck. Because there's plenty of guys there for the taking.
Around.
Ultimately, though, not an incredibly deep draft, but still, there were some good guys taken, and some guys that I think will be stars in the league. But we're going to continue on with this. We're going to look at our 2017 NFL draft wake and look into our crystal ball. I said crystal ball. In the first,
sure it's not Quistel?
and the first question we're going to have to look into our crystal ball on here, Dorf. Which top QB will have the best NFL career? Which top QB will have the best NFL career?
Pat Mahomes. I think he's in the perfect situation, good organization, doesn't need him to play right away. I think he has the best arm talent out of everybody available in the draft. And you know what? He's the clearer apparent, you know what, now that essentially I believe the Chiefs are done fucking around with Alex Smith. But you don't need him to play as a rookie. You can learn, and dude's got a rocket. I think he will have. Now, is he all world? No. But you know, he could still be a damn good starter in this league.
You know what, Dorf, I'm with you. And I will say this. I loved everything you had to say about him being in the perfect situation because he absolutely is as far as top QBs go. I think that being able to work with Andy Reid, I think being able to go into a situation where you're not going to be starting right away, you can sit on the bench, you can learn, you can take your reps in practice and go from there. How about this too? You're in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. How much pressure are you going to be under in Kansas City as opposed to, let's say, Mitch Trubisky being in Chicago as the number 2 overall pick?
Pretty much none.
Yeah, not a whole lot of pressure.
I mean, it's an NFL. You're still an NFL.
Absolutely. You're still an NFL
player.
You're
an
NFL
quarterback.
QB. You're in an NFL city. Those fans, you're drafted in the first round. You're going to be expected to win at some point. However, the situation that you're in right now, I think, presents the least amount of pressure out of.
I mean, Kaiser is good. There's going to be pressure for him to play right away in Cleveland.
Trubisky,
yes. There'll be not as much pressure because of the whole Mike Glennon thing, but pressure to play right away.
Deshaun
Watson, he's going to be playing right meow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now it helps being with Bill O'Brien.
He's either a wizard or a QB destroyer, depending on who you ask.
But again, you're already talking about Deshaun Watson maybe being the best quarterback that team has ever had.
Ugh.
At this point, because when you look down the line right now,
God damn it, Victor Martinez just hit a bunt single to third.
Oh, look at his face too.
So, all right, we do have the Tigers and Indians game out here on the studio. So, Victor Martinez, what? Oh, 15-year MLB veteran. They play the super overshift on him. He's a left-handed batter. He just drag bunted to perfection.
Dude, that was a good bunt.
Yeah, just no one on the left side of the infield. Just make sure it's past the pitcher. I mean, it would have rolled all the way into the outfield grass had the shortstop not ran over and got it. But hot damn, he done gone bunted for a single.
Oh, Bauer's coming in tight too on Upton.
Yeah,
You know what though? That's ultimately what you want him to do. I mean, if you're gonna hit it that way, then go ahead and do it.
Yeah, you know what? Fine. I'll bunt for a fucking single 3 times in a row over there.
Yeah,
Teach you to play an overshift on me.
You're still a double play candidate here with the way you run. I don't know. I'm not getting too excited about that.
Yeah, he's still 3 hits away from scoring.
All right. But I you know what? I think one guy I'm really interested in watching.
Who's that?
Josh Dobbs.
Okay.
I'm really
Pittsburgh?
yes, I'm really interested to see what this kid can do. Smart kid. He was a let's see where Victor goes. Does he make the third? Oh, yeah, he did.
Barely.
Oh man.
Guy after him hits a double the wall and he barely makes it to third base.
Anyways, good footwork with the kid. Pretty accurate, nice arm, very smart. He was a aerospace engineer
really?
at Tennessee. Yes, he actually was.
Nerd.
Yeah, he is a nerd. I think the week before the draft, he was finishing up some.
He's actually taking his finals.
He was doing some like big project out in Arizona, where it was some like all these different
super nerd.
Yeah, where like all these different aerospace,
She could shove you in a locker, nerd.
They were all at this competition in Arizona, and I guess just a bunch of different schools.
Bunch of Poindexters. Josh Dobbs, Poindexter.
Yeah, I think that's what they said on the coverage, that he was pretty sure he was the only student athlete at this place. Oh, what are you doing next week? I'm probably going to be drafted.
Probably
going to
be playing in the NFL next year.
And that's
how
what
about you?
I'm gonna go work
school.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, or I've got I'm gonna
got
be
this internship lined up with SpaceX or something, but
But the thing that sucks for him though is if he really liked to do this, which I'm sure he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's gonna have to give that totally up now. I mean, that's
not necessarily. Aerospace engineering will always be there when you come back to
it will always be there. But as far as him like studying it and everything, that's kind of out the window right now.
You can go back to grad school when you're done.
Yeah, but he's gonna be studying a playbook right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's not going to be worrying about.
All you got to do is walk into an interview at some, aerospace firm, whether it's, I don't know, whatever Jeff Bezos, the Amazon CEO is, I forget what his name is, his space firm's name, or like NASA. Be like, I played in the NFL, dude. You're hired.
And I
have an aerospace engineering.
And I'm a rocket scientist too. So
you're hired. Even if it's just for the PR department, you're fucking hired.
You could do commercials, right? But that's who I'm excited to see. Again, you talk about situations too. Going to Pittsburgh, being able to work behind Ben Roethlisberger, winning organization too. I think he's gotten himself into a nice situation there. So I'm going to be interested to see what he has to offer later on down the line, because Ben Roethlisberger, I think he's coming back next season though. I think that's where we're really going to have to be looking out to see what Roethlisberger is doing and where Josh Dobbs fits into that equation then. So, which undrafted free agent will have the best NFL career? What do you think, Dorf?
For me, I got 2 names.
Go ahead.
Wide receiver from Baylor, Katie Cannon. Dude's fast, but you know what? Playing at Baylor, really limited route tree. As you've kind of seen, Baylor offensive players have kind of had a rough time of it of late in the NFL. Specifically, like, KJ Wright. Or not KJ Wright. KJ Wright's a linebacker in Seattle. Right, played for Tennessee. Anyway, and also, God damn it, what's his name last year? whatever. Baylor wide receiver struggle in the NFL. But KD Cannon, I believe, he's got wheels, so I think he'll do well there. And also Carroll Phillips, he's a defensive and outside linebacker type from Illinois. I kind of thought he would have been picked, in the middle of the draft. Definitely can rush the passer. Whether or not he can stop the run is another story. But at the same time, there's plenty of room on an NFL roster for a guy that can get to the quarterback like Carroll Phillips.
You were knocking this one that I had, and that's Ben Boulware.
He's never going to make a team.
He was signed by the Carolina Panthers, linebacker out of Clemson. You said he's slow.
Yep, slow, stiff hips, no lateral quickness.
Yeah, but will be a liability
Can't
in the
cover
passing
anybody.
game. But
it's not very fat, straight.
What's one thing they don't
speed.
teach? What's one thing they don't teach in the NFL anymore?
Tackling.
Yes, this guy has tackling fuel. I know you're a stats guy, right, Dorf? According to
tackles are some of the most misleading / empty stats in the world. If you're about to drop like tackle knowledge on me,
according to Pro Football Focus, he led the ACC in tackling efficiency.
Okay.
So
I don't have no idea what that metric measures, but I'll take your word for it.
If he can, if he's coachable at the next level, and he's got something down that they don't teach at that level anymore,
doesn't matter if you can't catch the guy.
Then it's possible.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely possible.
Well, there's sets he can be put in as a linebacker where you're not necessarily forced to catch people.
It's called the CFL.
Again, these are undrafted free agents here too. Now we're not looking for guys as being every down starters or anything like that, or even starters. You can have a successful career
as a role player.
Exactly. I think Ben Boulware, if he's coachable, can be that.
Could be one of those guys.
I like you had another one, and this is the quarterback out of Virginia Tech, Jared Evans, who
still doesn't have a job,
still unsigned, which is
curious.
It's kind of weird because he has a good arm, he's a big quarterback too, and he's a guy that can stay in the pocket. He's not a guy that's going to get scared when the pocket starts to collapse on him. He's a guy that will stay. You would think he's a typical, prototypical type of lower tier NFL quarterback that a team would take a flyer on as an undrafted free agent, put him out there as a camp arm and see what he can do. But that hasn't happened yet. Why? I don't know. Instead, a guy like Tyler O'Connor, who Dorf is all about, ends up getting signed by the Cincinnati Bengals. So those are my two guys right there. What do you think about Jared Evans?
I don't know. Wasn't impressed with his body of work at Vatech. Thought he should have stuck around. He's still eligible to stick around. Never should have left. Antics on Twitter when you're not signed, especially from a reserve quarterback, won't be tolerated. I wouldn't be surprised if he never sees him in the camp.
All right. Christian McCaffrey or Leonard Fournette? Who has more staying power?
McCaffrey.
Why?
Because you know what? When the kind of the in-between the tackle skills fade, let's call it, he still does everything else well. Fournette, not really a dynamic threat out of the backfield in the receiving game. Better in between the tackles runner compared head-to-head to McCaffrey, but McCaffrey does like the other two facets.
You lose a lot more tread when that's the type of NFL.
When that's the type of back you are, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, your longevity in the league,
it's pretty short. Yeah, pretty short.
You've got a short shelf life.
At the same time, I can get an in between the back, one cut in between the tackles back for essentially nothing late in the draft or as UDFA. I can get that type of guy for free, and yet the Jaguars just invested the 4th overall pick in that.
How about this?
Not to mention you already have 2 of those guys on your roster, and TJ Yeldon and Chris Ivory.
Big topic tonight too, Dorf, was situations that these guys are placed in. Leonard Fournette, when he's on the field, you're going to have him and maybe like TJ Yeldon if you want to go a 2-back set. Other than that, who do they have back there that's going to leave you wondering?
Nobody.
As far as dynamics go.
The Jags?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Now you have Christian McCaffrey into that, in an I or
I'm going to call a
Or
lot
next-
of pistol look.
or
You'll
or
probably see a
pistol.
lot of pistol
Sure.
look with
Okay.
him and Cam Newton.
Yes.
Read,
But you
read
have-
option with those two.
But you have Cam Newton back there as well.
Mhm.
I mean, do you think that that's going to give defensive coordinators a little bit of a headache
Well, yeah.
when you're going up against the Carolina Panthers and you see McCaffrey and Cam Newton lining up back there? Again,
They're a threat to do a lot of things. You got to
Yes.
guard a lot of things.
you can get very, very creative with McCaffrey and Cam Newton back there,
Mhm.
or it's not just a in between the tackles type of play that you'll be running there. So I think that's another reason why Christian McCaffrey might have a longer shelf life or more staying power in the NFL. Again, just because of the situation he was put into. If Leonard Fournette went to a better situation, then who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
But I think that, and again, this is why I thought that the Jaguars were losers, especially after day one,
that
because
just didn't make sense to me. Why they would? That's sort of a luxury pick from them.
it is absolutely
You've
a
got
luxury pick.
so many other needs.
You could make it.
specifically on defense.
You could make a good argument that running back was the last thing that they needed. Okay, so you could make the argument.
Offensive tackle.
Okay, so you could make the argument.
Yeah.
Though. And we've seen this before with Jacksonville. We've seen a Maurice Jones-Drew, a top-tier running back in the league,
Wasted.
not being able to do anything because he wasn't surrounded with anybody else on that team. Nobody. Who made the most of their first-round picks, Cleveland or San Francisco?
Cleveland.
Why is that?
I think because of not only with the players that they acquired, but the picks they accumulated. Bears, what the fuck you doing?
What does it have to do with
It
Cleveland?
doesn't have anything to do with Cleveland. But at the same time, San Francisco. It's not saying that San Francisco did bad either.
But who did better? Who made the most of their first?
I'm going to say Cleveland.
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 Okay.
And that's it kind of culminated in that with also knocking it out of the park in the second round too.
I'm going to go with, you know what? I don't want to say for the sake of being different. I'll go with San Francisco because I loved what they did with the with the Bears pick. I loved how they totally fleeced Chicago on that one.
And then trading back up in to get a guy that was in a lot of people's top fives, you got him at the end of the first round.
Yes, and taking Reuben Foster with that one. And I know I talked with a guy at work today about this too, Dorf, about San Francisco being more willing to take a flyer on Reuben Foster, just because they had that extra pick in the first round, and that's something that they had their guy that they were sure that they could hit on.
In John Lynch's words, now this could just be PR speak. We got two of our top three guys. The other one was Myles Garrett, and he went first. We can't not. We weren't getting him.
Sure,
we weren't getting Myles Garrett, but we got our next two.
Yeah. And look, Reuben Foster, if he doesn't work out, you know what? That was an extra pick you had in the first round, at the end of the first round too.
Yep.
So whatever. Moving real quick on this, Dorf, we got Roger Goodell and his disapproval of marijuana. This is our stupid shit of the week coming from Deadspin. Roger Goodell. Let's see, what were his quotes here? Roger Goodell spoke about weed on Mike and Mike Friday and surprised he's against its use. The NFL commissioner said he didn't want marijuana usage to be something that will be held accountable for some years down the road. According to Goodell, the NFL medical advisors haven't really said that allowing medical cannabis use is something the league should consider. Now,
this is the same league that employed essentially a fake doctor as the head of their concussion program.
And that allows, what's that drug? Torterol?
Any sort of opioid painkiller.
Yep. Former Eagles offensive lineman Todd Hermans had something to say about that, according to Deadspin. You would hope that the NFL would not just deny the findings we've had with cannabis, Hermans told Deadspin in an interview Friday. I'm sure as commissioner, he's probably has a lot on his plate. And the cannabis thing, as of late, has been very prominent, and it's probably a thorn in his side and probably aggravates him to where he just says, right now I don't see a place for it. But if you're the commissioner, you can't get aggravated by certain topics. You have to look at them all equally, Let's see, does he have any other Here's another quote from him. We have a viable natural alternative to a huge problem that we have in the NFL right now with abuse of opiates. He goes on to say, Herman's that is, and the easy way from the top to deal with at least a portion of that problem is not even promoting cannabis, just don't penalize people for using it. In terms of injuries and issues that affect current and former professional athletes, which generally have to do with chronic pain, with concussion, with chronic traumatic injury, Lambert Center Director Charles Pollock said, there are issues in which there is intense interest, but we have precious little data, so it's really hard to make any sort of generalization, either positive or negative, and are very much in favor of doing the studies, but over the next few years can establish a role for cannabis in these injuries and illnesses, or maybe say that it doesn't help at all. Now, are players allowed to drink throughout the year?
Yes.
Okay. Are they allowed to smoke cigarettes if they smoke cigarettes?
Yeah,
Are they allowed to chew tobacco?
I believe so.
Are they allowed to eat red meat?
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but yeah.
Fat? Fatty? Anyways.
Whatever. Yes.
Carcinogens. If it's too charred. What is the big difference between using marijuana and alcohol, drinking alcohol,
PR.
chewing tobacco,
PR.
smoking cigarettes? What's the difference between using marijuana to help dull the pain on an off day as opposed to using the opiates?
Reefer Madness PR.
So there is no good reason not to.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here from the perspective
Go
of the
ahead.
NFL. If I'm all about the kiddos and keeping them away and being positive influences on their life, and you know what, in most places, weed is still illegal. Like it or not, it is still illegal.
We're the NFL. It's not our job to raise your kids.
Not yes. Unfortunately, that's not the yes. You could say that, but that's not the way it works.
And
that's the reality of the situation. That's not the way being a role model works.
And
you are one whether you want it to be or not. You can't say out of one side of your mouth, stay on the straight and narrow, behave. We don't have a tolerance for lawbreakers. And still let those guys do that,
and I know,
quietly or otherwise.
And I know you're playing devil's advocate here, Dorf, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then don't be hypocrites about it. Don't allow Greg Hardy. Don't allow Adrian Peterson back in the league then.
Mm-hmm.
Put your money where your mouth is. If you are looking to be the high and mighty morality police here in the NFL, then don't let these guys play anymore. Don't let the woman beaters and the child beaters and the rapists and the drug addicts back into your league. Put your money where your mouth is. Instead, you have some crusade here.
They'd stop doing it if you didn't let them back in.
Yeah, against marijuana because of PR.
And you know what?
We're probably gonna have to talk about this more because this is a decent topic for another day.
I know. I've never touched the stuff. Never.
Yes,
will.
you have.
I have not.
You have. Yeah, I know that you used to
Never.
you used to be a guy that went to the Fish concerts all the time, and
I've never been to a concert.
you had the flannel shirts and the no.
I acquired my first flannel shirt at Christmas this year. No, I've never touched this stuff. Never will. But at the same time,
Are you a big cocaine guy?
No.
Crack?
No.
Heroin?
Couldn't tell the difference between any of the three.
I think cocaine is the powder.
I think you're right.
Crack is the rock.
Sure.
Crack, I think, is the poor man's cocaine.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know this stuff. Anyway, so
don't you do drugs, man?
Nope.
Yeah, neither do I.
I
don't even drink caffeine.
Yeah, you don't drink caffeine. You don't eat meat. You don't drink.
But
goddamn Puritan. No, at the same time, this idea of that marijuana is the cool, consequence-free alternative to stuff is not grounded in scientific fact. It's just not. There is consequences to use of marijuana. However, they are significantly less risky than the consequences of using opioid painkillers on the regular.
Absolutely. There's consequences to any drug that you use.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've seen guys get addicted to painkillers. We've seen guys get addicted to
Quite regularly, by the way.
Yes, alcohol.
Just ask Brett Favre and Roger Clemens.
Yes, any type of drug, there could be consequences. There could be there's
just think about it from like just a body chemistry perspective. You're unnaturally altering your body chemistry for probably a desired reason.
Yes,
but you're still causing an unnatural imbalance that people's bodies act differently to.
Yep. And like he says in here with Herman's, he says if allow it.
By the way,
go ahead.
Sorry, Grand Valley State grad. By the way.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good. You don't have to promote it. You don't have to.
Don't enforce it.
You don't have to go out there and say, hey, you know what? We allowed reefer
full
usage.
moratorium on weed.
Yep. You could smoke.
Go crazy.
Yep. You could smoke as much weed as
Lungs
you
all
want.
over the place.
You don't have to do that. Just don't enforce it. Oh, you tested.
Kind of what the NBA does.
You've
the
used
NBA
weed.
does that.
It's something that they probably should do. Who cares? If it helps them stay away from the opiates. And it's funny that Roger Goodell says something, oh, well, this is not something that we want to have to deal with later on down the line. Shut the fuck up.
What do you mean?
Shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me with that? You're a guy that allows mass usage of Torterol in your locker rooms, and weed is something that you don't want to be held accountable for some years down the road, quote unquote.
But you know what? I'm going to put my devil's advocate hat on.
Go ahead.
Again. He's right. There's not a lot of data. Weed is such a politicized issue to get a purely scientific.
A lot of data for what?
Long-term effects of weed use. There's not a lot of data because weed is such a politically charged subject. You cannot get a long-term study done without a huge political bias in this country. You haven't been able to do that.
But there's not even that study on the opiates they use. The only study
I don't disagree with you.
I know the only study
correct.
I know
the correct answer should be none of it.
The only thing in the study we have with those opiates is the doctor who came out with
who made the damn stuff is like, Jesus Christ, these guys are fucking insane.
Yeah, what are they doing? The guys who are authorizing these dosages should be put in jail.
Yeah, you know what? The injectable opioid painkillers should be used like twice, ever. These guys get them once a week.
And you've used it, Dorf.
Yeah.
You've had it injected into what, your foot?
My foot.
And you said, and what happened when it was injected into your foot?
Feels really good. Well, it's not that it feels really good. It doesn't hurt no more.
Yeah. And can you go out and play?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And if you kept on injecting that into your foot, would you be any better off now than when you were then?
And you know what? To be fair, I hit it twice. Two times total. My right foot. Stress fracture in my foot my freshman year of college during spring practice.
And why did they inject you with it?
Because I was competing for a spot and I didn't want to sit out.
Did you don't have to answer this.
I asked for it.
You asked for it? Okay.
Well, I didn't necessarily ask for it specifically. I asked for something to keep me going.
And that's what they gave you.
That was one of the options.
So they gave you another one.
And orally, Tylenol, extra strength Tylenol, which was already being taken on the daily and wasn't doing anything. Or sit out.
When you look back on that now, do you
never put it in feet or joints ever? Didn't know that at the time.
So when you look back on that now, you're thinking to yourself, why in the hell was this school that I played for? We're not going to name the school. Mm-hmm. Why the hell was that even an option for me? Are you asking yourself that now?
No.
No? Why not?
Me specifically. Because it was twice and then it was over.
Did you see any other guys being abused by it?
No.
No?
Okay. Not you know what? Same time it was the Division III level, man.
Okay.
At the Division III level in an engineering school, most of these guys were too smart for that shit.
Okay, but you know what? Let's draw parallels here, though.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what's happening in a Division III,
in spring ball,
what's happening in Division I?
On the
at
weekly,
at a major conference school.
line them up.
But weed's not allowed.
Nope.
Weed's a no-no. Anyways, that's the hypocrisy. That's the NFL. And I know, Dorf, you're just playing devil's advocate. So,
Here's the deal. Here's my true feelings on the subject. Not a fan of weed. And that's more of me not being able to come to terms with society's urge to achieve an altered state of consciousness.
And you know what, Dorf? That's fine. But
I'm more of the, you know what? Just don't do something that's going to affect me. If you choose to partake in a mind altering substance, just don't do something that can affect my life. Stay at home, by all means. Trip balls at home. Not the saying that weed makes you trip balls, but if you're going to do something like that, stay home. That's fine. Just don't get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Don't be in public.
But you could say that about alcohol.
Yeah, same thing. Now, part of alcohol is the social consumption. Just don't get behind the wheel of a car.
Social consumption can be applied to weed as well.
Yeah, fair. Don't get behind the wheel of a car. I don't.
Oh, absolutely. I'm certainly not promoting that.
And you know what? At the same time, weed is something that can be secondhand inhaled. Don't do it around people who don't want to have it done around them. Alcohol, you can't really secondhand consume alcohol.
All right. Anyways.
But you know what? You're the only one who gets hurt in this scenario.
What do you think has a worse long-term effect?
What?
Opiate painkillers or
Opiate painkillers?
Okay.
I don't even need to give me an or. I mean, other than maybe like heroin.
You know, we may.
By the way, like non-street grade heroin is still used in the old Soviet bloc as a prescription painkiller.
Is it?
Yes.
Don't tell
smaller doses.
Don't tell a lot of people that.
Now, it's not cut with the same crazy shit that it is here, but like pure heroin in small controlled doses is still used as a painkiller in like the former Soviet Union.
Soviet Russia?
Yeah.
We may go and look at this again another time because it's an interesting.
It's a great topic that isn't necessarily timely.
Yeah.
We can bring it out whenever we need to.
It is an interesting topic, and I guess I want to go
do a whole damn show on it.
Yeah, I want to look more into it too.
Like 2-hour show.
Yeah, I want to look more into it,
especially if we know far enough ahead of time. We can put our research hats on.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
go practice reading academic studies.
Do you want to maybe do some trials too, some physical trials?
No. You couldn't get a study that was long enough to conclude anything. With a bit large enough sample size to be satisfactory for scientific use.
You don't have any old
means.
You don't have any old connections or anything like that?
No.
For the opiate painkillers?
No.
Damn.
Dude, that's controlled substances, man. You don't fuck with that shit.
We could test it on Shawn when he comes back. See what it does to him. He could be our...
Well, the little thing that's going on with me, sinus blockage.
Oh, your sinuses?
I've got like the stuff you have to buy from behind the pharmacy counter Sudafed here. That was hard enough to get that today. It's not, you don't need a script for it, but at the same time, it's behind the counter. Yet they have to log your ID to purchase it.
Oh, they had to check my ID when I was buying Robitussin.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways. Topic for a different day, though. I definitely want to go take a look at this again. And finish things up. Did you see Isaiah Thomas get his tooth knocked out of his head the other night?
I didn't see how it happened. I just saw the aftermath.
Oh, here we go. Do we have music?
And you'll see the tooth come flying out of his mouth.
Oh, I took an elbow off a pick.
There it is.
Oh, see it? Did you see it?
Continued, obviously.
Oh, there it is.
It stopped.
Right there.
Picks up
Oh,
the
there it
tooth
is.
And brings it over to the bench.
That's awesome. Isaiah Thomas can play hockey, right? Is he
about the right size?
Is he a hockey player? Yeah, he is. Could be a gritty little forward. Yeah. Anyways, ironically enough, Matt Hardy during the WWE pay-per-view. I'm sorry, no, Jeff Hardy during the pay-per-view last night on WWE got his tooth knocked out as well. Boom! Ooh. Oh, there it is. Oh. And that was real too. That wasn't faked. He actually did get his tooth kicked out of his fucking face. So yeah, it was wasn't a good night for teeth over the weekend, or a good weekend for teeth. Anyways,
I mean, hockey wasn't being played. Well, hockey is still being played.
hockey is still being played. Yeah, we didn't see any teeth get knocked out in hockey.
Not that I'd watch.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the Taiwanese call on Manny Ramirez's home run?
I've only seen it. I haven't heard the call.
All right, well here you go. You're gonna hear the call now.
我有几个球真的打得不错。
这个球飞到的是在左野方向。This ball is long gone, just like the ex-girlfriend who will never return. Home run!
Just like the ex-girlfriend who would never return.
Does it kind of? You remember that old South Park episode with the dodgeball one where they were, where they? I can't remember this. The Chinese announcers, and like I haven't seen an American die like that since Abraham Lincoln. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It's like this guy. You know what? This is like, isn't this like Taiwanese like AAA essentially?
I don't know. Do you want to hear it again?
No, I'm good. It just like Taiwanese. It's not even like
我有几个球
the
真的打得不错。
Too bad we're playing it again.
这个球飞到的是在左野方向。This ball is long gone, just like an ex-girlfriend who will never return.
I wonder what his broadcast partners do. Is like, what the?
They probably fucking planned that for weeks.
Is that a Dallas Cowboy
Yeah, it is.
purple helmet too being held up?
Except it's purple.
That's purple. I don't know who's 99 on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm assuming Manny Ramirez is 99 on that team though.
That was the last number I think he wore in the big leagues.
99.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to hear some fan reaction to
Trubisky
the Mitch Trubisky pick? Here we go. This is courtesy of Busted Coverage too, who was able to put all these together. First one though, coming from Sports Illustrated.
Financial commitment there. And, Coach, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. Look at the reaction in Chicago. Wow. They thought they were getting a defensive player. Could you imagine? This could be the video they play for years and years if Trubisky finally does deliver a championship back to Chicago.
You know what though? If they're sitting there thinking, like, do you really think you're getting a defensive player? I guess, yeah.
If I'm trading up there, now I was out of town. Girlfriend took me out of town for the birthday weekend. I didn't watch this live. I got an alert. Niners trade. Bears and Niners trade. It's like, what the fuck? They must have really wanted Solomon Thomas. That was my thoughts. They, don't buy the hype on Trubisky. Niners are logically going to take Thomas or maybe Jamal Adams as safety. They want him that bad that it is worth trading for. Okay, I get it. Why Mr. Trubisky? Huh? That doesn't make sense to me, but
It doesn't make sense either way. Trading up one spot, giving up what you had to give up to move up one spot. Because even if they were drafting a defensive player, defense was loaded with defensive, or the draft was loaded with defensive
If anything,
players.
you should have been trading back.
Yes, absolutely. So, anyways, here's more.
The Chicago Bears select
Don't fucking say it.
Mitchell
Yo! Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you!
Here's down at the draft too. I think it was a draft party or something like that. I don't know.
It's a Millennium
Here's the commissioner. With the second pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky is going to Chicago.
Bears fan right there.
Mentor with Mike Glennon. And the young man is just 13.
I'll preface this too that we are Lions fans, so we are finding
all of this extra hilarious.
yes. And how many do we have left? Two more.
Oh my God, no!
One more.
The Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Fucking Doug McDermott fucking all over again. I hate the fucking Chicago sports. What the fuck? What a fucking bunch of fucking idiots.
And the young man with just 13 career starts
Fuck you.
at North Carolina is trading in the NC for the C on the side of his helmet.
Oh man, what is there? Is there anybody in recent Detroit Lions draft memory that you could remember having a similar reaction to? Was it the Ebron pick?
No, I was initially positive about the Ebron pick.
Of course you were.
It was.
My brother and I got into a fight, like an actual fight, not a fist fight, but an argument fight over the Ryan Broyles selection. He was all about it. I was,
Yeah, so same here.
Yeah, let's draft.
I can't think of
draft a
one.
wide receiver with a knee problem.
What was the first rounder the year before that?
For Ryan Broyles?
No, before Ebron. I didn't like the Ansah pick.
No.
I was super against the Ziggy Ansah pick. I thought they fell in love with the Combine Warrior. Now, I've been proven wrong, thankfully.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. But yeah, I was initially upset with the Ziggy Ansah pick.
But you didn't have the reaction.
No.
Do you remember like the Mike Williams or the or
was in
anything
high
like
school.
that?
I
No,
really
didn't care.
I cared, but I didn't watch it. It was just one of those that, like, would look on the
Too busy
Monday
trying
morning.
to smoke weed, drink beer, and have sex with girls.
Stay on the straight and narrow and work out too much. Yes. Study too much for my 4 AP classes.
Aw.
Asshole.
Anyways,
Dude, all I did was study and work out. I didn't have a social life.
anything else, Dorf?
You didn't answer the fan question.
Oh, the fan question. Music down.
I'm trying to get out of here early. Well, we're already a half hour over.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Real quick, because we're gonna save this for next week.
Sure.
We're gonna bring this up into a bigger topic here, but
Dedicate more of the show to it.
yes.
God damn you, booking 2 Whoppers in the same week.
Sorry, it was one of those weeks. Fan question: are the latest ESPN mass layoffs a sign of a dying big sports media platform?
It's dying of traditional media platform, period. It's not exclusive to sports.
Okay, explain.
People are too impatient. They ain't sitting around and waiting for, what they want to watch to come around in the hourly cycle. They're just going to YouTube that shit.
I agree
or
with you.
Watch it on Twitter.
I agree. I think that times are changing.
Mhm.
I mean, Sports
It's
Center.
for the better.
Yes, Sports Center, ESPN, what it was before.
It's
is,
no longer a highlight show, and you know what? You can't survive on a highlight show alone.
No, because like you said, there's
won't wait for their 15, their 5 minutes of hockey highlights that they get in an hour.
Well,
they're just going to go watch this shit on Twitter. or
exactly.
YouTube.
You've got social media now. You've got a much more extensive blogosphere out there, with differing opinions and much more cutthroat opinion than you would have with ESPN. That maybe
Well, specifically in the blogosphere, you know what? Because of the blogosphere is catching on now, teams are very much limiting their access, and you have to be super essentially extension of the PR outlet in order to have credentialed access anymore to big time sports. So, and you know what? You're not going to get a contrarian or essentially an outside the party line opinion from, let's call it, the mainstream anymore. And you know what? People are sick of being fed bullshit when it's so obviously wrong.
well, it's
Not like two sides to the same coin. It's like correct and flat out fucking wrong.
It's tough too, Dorf, because the big thing that ESPN is going to continue to live on. I'm not saying that ESPN is going to die out altogether.
No, it's their live sports.
Because live sports is still going to be there in places like ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC. They're going to be the only guys that are going to have the means to be able to fork over the cash to cover these.
I wouldn't say that's not so fast, young lad.
Okay, what's the retort here?
Look at what specifically this year, the upcoming season of the NFL.
Oh, with
Amazon Prime's got
Amazon Prime.
a bunch of games.
Okay,
and if that takes off there, don't be surprised if the NFL doesn't take their money, because Amazon's got a big enough pile of cash that they could be the exclusive distribution network for the NFL within the next decade.
Okay, I guess my point then is you're not going to see Deadspin getting TV rights.
No, correct.
Even though Deadspin is technically NBC now, but technically down the line.
Yeah, it's a Univision company.
Yeah. Actually, is Univision by itself? I think it's Telemundo that's part of NBC. And Univision is on its own. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Univision is its own thing.
Okay. So Univision though is pretty big. Univision though is big. But you're not going to see Deadspin or The Comeback or Larry Brown Sports, picking up NFL games. I guess that was my comparison.
was your thing. Okay.
Yes. Not so much. I think that's the next competition though for big sports media like ESPN, like CBS or NBC, are these social media platforms that generate a ton of cash, or these other internet platforms like an Amazon, going in and potentially stealing NFL games away from these companies or from these other broadcast companies. So, yeah, I think ESPN.
Univision owns The Onion.
Do they?
Yeah,
that's awesome. Univision's actually pretty sweet. They own The Onion and Deadspin.
They own Onion, Gawker. And Fusion too. Familiar Fusion?
I am.
Yeah, they have them too.
It's quite a nice little lineup they have there.
Yeah, the only problem is
Onion's fun. I mean, Onion's not gonna.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just talking about the financial health of Univision Communications.
Mm-hmm.
According to this, the last time they got financial data on it, they lost $10 billion fucking in 2015.
So how the hell they go and buy Deadspin and all that?
They bought it for essentially nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But they still brought out it for employees, and they still have to pay those employees. So
true.
They're expanding their payroll. But we're gonna touch on this more next week. ESPN shit. Anyways, that's gonna do it this week though for the Majors Live. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time, right here on TMSNX Radio, the Majors.net. So for Dorf, Shawn who's sick at home, get better, Shawn. I'm Adam. Bye for now, everybody.